Splatoon 3's 1-year anniversary is rapidly approaching, and I think most of us are wondering the same thing. Will the new season that drops in September go all out to celebrate the anniversary? Or will it just be the same old generic template that they've used for all the previous seasons? This might be a little controversial, but it's no secret that majority of the game's fanbase have found the previous season's content drops to be underwhelming. I've made multiple videos about this exact topic, and so have a few other Splatubers. So I thought it would be a good idea to reach out to one of them, being Zorkonic, to join me and discuss all of our hopes and predictions for the upcoming season. While this might be major copium, we do believe that this next Splatoon content drop will be the biggest one so far. As always, if you enjoy the video, give it a like and hit that subscribe button.
How's everyone doing? I'm Zorkonic, another competitive Splatoon player and YouTuber. Seeing as how the game is almost a year old, you'd think that we'd have multiple new weapons, but we've gotten 5 since launch, and none of them have been of the new weapon classes, the Stringers and Splatanas. It doesn't make much sense, seeing as how the Stringers on the box art and the Splatanas are one of the coolest weapon classes in the game. So to start small, we need a new type of each of these weapons. There are countless varieties that they could make, from a Stringer that shoots 5 arrows, to a light Splatana that's exceptionally quick with good paint but not significant damage, to even a Stringer that only shoots 1 arrow, but it's much stronger and has a powerful explosion once it lands, to the coolest of all, a dual-sided Splatana. This would be a weaker Splatana with a bit more range than the vanilla Splatana but double the DPS, and those are just off the top of my head. I'm sure the multi-billion-dollar company could come up with even better ideas than those.
Besides new variants of the flagship weapons, I think what people might care the most about with this new season are weapon kits. As many people have said, the amount of new weapon kits that we've been getting each season has been lackluster. In each previous season, we've received anywhere between 11 to 13 new kits, which, if that keeps up for every future season, it means that we won't be anywhere near having a third kit for every single weapon in the game by the time Nintendo stops giving this game new content, which would be a big shame. For this 1-year anniversary, I think it would be so cool if Nintendo went above and beyond with the amount of new kits. Like, maybe over 20 or something could be a realistic wish. But even if it's not that much, I just hope that it's more than the previous seasons. Cause seriously, every weapon in the game should have 3 kits.
Alright, so Splatoon 3 has the most specials in the entire series, and while I think most of them are all good in their own way, I think adding just a few more would round things out. First off, I'd like to add a new support special. When done right, support specials feel super rewarding because it benefits the whole team and rewards good team play, and while I love aggressive specials like the Kraken, we already have a lot of those. As for returning specials, I actually want 2, both from Splatoon 2. The first is the Splashdown. While it's by far the worst special in Splatoon 2 solely because you can cancel it, I think it would be better if 2 significant things were changed about it: the speed in which the attack goes off and the armor you get when in the air. In Splatoon 2, the attack went off as soon as you pressed the special button. For casuals, this was a nightmare. For competitive players, they just looked up and killed the player before the attack could finish. To eliminate both of these issues, we'll add a half a second of startup from when you press the special button. This will be a simple animation of your character getting ready to go into the sky. Once the startup is done, the rest is the same. You go into the sky, stay still briefly, and then come down with a powerful attack. This is where the second major change comes into play. Once at the peak of the jump, the same armor that covers Booyah Bomb is activated and it takes 200 damage to destroy it. Before the armor is active, you are entirely vulnerable, but afterwards you must destroy the ink armor before killing the user. You can also still use this special in super jumps like before. The second special I want is a reworked bomb launcher. This would function the same way as the Crazy 8 in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where it would cycle through each bomb in the game one at a time. You get 1 of each, and they're always thrown in this order. While the practical uses of this aren't too high, and I honestly don't see how this would be anywhere good and competitive, it would be pretty fun to use, and I think casual players would really enjoy it. But even if we got these cool special ideas, there's one thing we still haven't gotten.
New sub-weapons. I predicted that they'd do this for the most recent Sizzle season, but they ended up just giving us new main weapons instead. To go with the all-out theme of this anniversary, I think 1 new sub-weapon would be a fantastic addition. As for ideas of what it could be, a common idea that I see people have is sort of a mini deployable turret. It would be like Sprinkler where you could just throw it wherever you want, except it should take up a lot more ink. I'm not sure how they would balance something like this so it's not OP, but I'm sure they could find a way.
These 4 modes are pretty fun, but it's been like 5 years since we got anything new. Getting a new Anarchy mode would make this update pretty hype, but it would have to be done right. Tower Control and Rainmaker feel much worse than Splatoon 3 solely for the map design, which is why most of these new maps aren't on map lists or dedicated to zones and clams only. As from what this new mode would be, I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that it needs to be as unique as Clamblitz, because even 5 years later, it still feels like the odd one out because of how creative it is and how much team play is required. The mode would also need to work on most of the maps, because Tower and Rain are extremely limiting right now.
In previous seasons, we've only gotten 2 maps at a time. One is always brand new, and the other is always returning. For this season, Zorkonic and I are both hoping that they give us double the amount of stages that they usually do. 2 brand new stages, and 2 returning.
Hear me out, Moray Towers. Yes, it's dog water, yes, no competitive map list ever would use it, and yes, no one but me likes it, but I feel like it's kind of a staple in Splatoon. It was one of the launch stages in Splatoon 2, it was one of the 3 stages picked for the final festival in Splatoon 1, and it's in Smash. I like the stage when I'm playing for fun, and if it got some reworks like adding some extra routes and less areas to fall off, I think it would be solid. As for my serious pick, I want to see Urchin return. I highly doubt this one will because it's a staple stage for Splatoon 1, but it's an excellent stage and very fun to play on. Hopefully if the stage does return, they don't make walls uninkable and remove flanks and such.
For the stages that I'd like to see return, I don't really think you can go wrong with Splatoon 2's The Reef. This is just a solid map all around, and I don't think Nintendo would alter it too much since it's a Splatoon 2 map. However, the other map I want to see return, being Bluefin Depot from Splatoon 1, might be a little more worrying. We've seen what they've done to some of the other Splat 1 maps in this game. Will Bluefin Depot have its soul stripped away as well? Let's hope not. While we're on the topic of stages, something that fans have been eagerly waiting for are map reworks. It's no secret that majority of the new Splatoon 3 maps, well, for lack of a better word, suck. In both of the previous games, Nintendo would take stages that had layout issues and rework them, and they would always turn out a lot better. It's been almost a year without map rework so far in Splatoon 3, but I think many people would agree that some of the maps in this game need it the most. So for this anniversary, I think now is the time. The time to start with the map reworks. Now, I'm not expecting them to have like 5 stages reworked for when the season drops or anything like that. That would be unrealistic. In the previous games, they would fix one single map every few months. So all I'd like to see them do is announce that they're redesigning a stage. I don't really care which one, there's like 8 they can pick from, but if I had to choose one, I'd say either Eeltail Alley or Mincemeat Metalworks.
Customization is a big part of the Splatoon series and part of what I love about it. I really enjoy being able to see pictures of players and going, hey, I know this person, or hey, I recognize them, solely based on their gear. But there could also be more, especially when it comes to the actual Inkling and Octoling. First off, I want more hair options. The ones we have now are great, but the art book has so many cool styles for both of the Inklings and Octolings that don't end up in the final game, which makes me super disappointed, because they all look really cool. Second, more facial features. We could have the basics like freckles and moles, but we could also have more out there things like scars and different eye masks. Adding more eye colors where they fade into the different colors would also be great. What we have now is fine, and again, it's one of my favorite parts of Splatoon, but being able to do more with your actual character other than hair, eyes, and skin tone would be pretty cool.
The past few seasons have also had pretty disappointing amounts of new gear, as well as things like banners, titles, and locker decorations. I think it would be totally fair for us to expect a bit more out of Nintendo this time. Give us all of the missing gear from Splatoon 2 back at least, and maybe something like 10 new banners, 50 new titles, and 50 new locker decorations, and maybe some of them could be themed around the 1-year anniversary celebration. Last, but certainly not least, I think we'll get what's maybe the most widely anticipated announcement of all. News on the very secretive Side Order DLC. Literally every day I see people online talking about the Side Order. People are really hyped for this thing and want information. Now, of course, I don't think the DLC is going to actually come out with the new season, but I do think we might get a trailer or an announcement of some kind on the progress of it. Maybe a release date and a bit more information on what exactly the DLC will entail. Alright guys, that about wraps it up for our hopes and predictions for Splatoon 3's 1-year anniversary season. Do we actually expect all these things to come true? No. But to be honest, optimism is the only thing that keeps us going in this community. I want to give a huge thanks to Zorconic for coming on the channel and sharing some of his predictions. Be sure to go check out his channel, which is down below. Before we go though, we ask one thing. Let us know your hopes and predictions for the new season down below, because we're really curious to hear what all of you guys want for the anniversary. Okay, with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.